Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm author, leadership, and team development speaker Joe Woodley, and this is another Key Moments for Faith, the podcast edition. Thank you guys so much for joining me on today's broadcast. Before we go any further, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Share it with your friends, your family, your neighbors, the guy down the street, around the corner, and even your enemies, and they may just happen to become your friends. Also, take a look in the description box where you are certainly sure to find something to help you on this journey we call faith. Hey, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today, and I really do appreciate you. Have a great topic to discuss with you all. If you're interested in calling in as a guest, the guest call-in number is 319-527-6781. That's 319-527-6781. And today we're going to be talking about a pretty dirty word. The word is called procrastination. The show is entitled Stop Waiting for Tomorrow. I mean, we've all heard these slogans, phrases, and sometimes even excuses. I'll get to it tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll get started. I can't wait until tomorrow. Someday, tomorrow, it's going to happen. We've heard these phrases repeated over and over again with many people that we know, and I would dare say that many of us have even used these phrases or have made these excuses and many, many more. The problem is that as we use those excuses, I should say, it seems like tomorrow never comes. Have you noticed that for many people, tomorrow never comes? I don't mean that they just drop dead. I mean, there is that aspect where your time runs out because eventually there are no more tomorrows. But what I mean is that every day becomes another tomorrow and another tomorrow. And there are more and more excuses that seem to rack up, and we never get to where it is we say we want to get to. Our dreams, our goals, our desires never quite seem to happen. Things never fall into place. And I would dare say that one of the major reasons why many people fail to fulfill their dreams, their goals, their desires is because of that dirty word, procrastination. I've been there. I've done that. As a matter of fact, there are times when I still have to fight off procrastination because procrastination is sneaky. It slithers its way into your life. You get relaxed, you get comfortable, and before you know it, you're living in the land of procrastination, and again, tomorrow never seems to come. It never seems to come to fruition. You're looking back over your life and you're wondering what happened. How did I get to this place? Well, is because of procrastination. I want to talk to you guys, first of all, and start this broadcast off with what procrastination leads to. And I think it's important that we discuss that. And then we're going to get into some solutions in dealing with your procrastination, because you need to deal with your procrastination or it's going to deal with you. You need to get a handle on it or it's going to handle you. Let me be clear. Procrastination is dysfunction. Procrastination is dysfunction. You're thinking, this is just the way I am. This is the way I do things. This is the way I handle life. But it is dysfunctional not to pursue your goals. It is a dysfunction not to pursue the dreams that you have in life. It is dysfunctional to accept less than out of your life. That's dysfunction. And many of us have been raised in dysfunctional environments. And the result of that is it becomes normalized. Dysfunction becomes normalized. We think this is just the way things are. This is the way I was raised. Or sometimes we don't even see the dysfunction. It's just the way we do things. And unfortunately, it leads to some unintended consequences. So let's talk about the consequences first. We're going to zip through those, and then we're going to get to how we can deal with this dysfunction that we call procrastination. Procrastination leads to laziness. Yeah, it leads to laziness because we're not taking the initiative or the incentive to make things happen. So we get lazy. We become complacent with things as they are. Procrastination leads to unpreparedness. You find yourself in situations where you have not appropriately prepared because you waited to the last moment to get your stuff together. And now it's time to perform, and you cannot produce what it is that you've been advertising. I've seen this happen with many people. They wait till the last minute, the last day, the last moment. They slap something together. They get up in front of people. I've seen this happen with speakers. I've seen this happen with presenters. I've seen this happen with teachers. I've seen this happen with preachers. I've seen this happen with friends. They get up in front of people and they're not prepared because they waited to the last minute. They waited to the last minute, and now they're stumbling and bumbling all over the place, looking foolish because they procrastinated. Procrastination leads to sloppiness. Again, your stuff just ain't right. You're doing a presentation, and there are grammatical errors, or your graphics are off, or the things that you thought were printed properly, they've been misprinted, so you didn't have time to go back and look over them again. So stuff just looks sloppy. It doesn't look right. And trust me, that is not a recipe for success, because it reflects on who you are and how you see yourself. So you're presenting a sloppy product. You're presenting yourself as being sloppy, and you wonder why you can't progress, why opportunities are not opening up. Procrastination leads to underperformance. Well, I would even say underwhelming performance. Procrastination leads to the development of bad habits. Bad habits. Man, I'm telling you, I mean, you know people like that. I know people like that, and many of us maybe had been there. I mean, I can say for myself, there were some bad habits that I had developed when I was younger. They were the result of procrastination, waiting to the last moment. I'll get to it when I get to it. It'll happen when it happens. And the result of that was I developed some pretty bad habits that took some serious work and intervention for me to get beyond. Unsatisfactory product. You're going out there and you're providing a product or a service, and you wonder why everyone who purchases or invests in your product or utilizes your service is always giving you 3 stars and below. 3 stars and below. And you're promoting yourself as being a 5-star presenter, but your product is 3 stars and below. Why is that happening? Because you procrastinated. Procrastination leads to over-promising and under-delivering. You do a whole lot of talking up front, but when it comes time to deliver, again, the product is unsatisfactory. Why? Because I spend too much time talking and not enough time preparing. Procrastination leads to chronic tardiness. This drives me absolutely up a wall, ladies and gentlemen. If you really want to pull my chain, be chronically tardy. And for those of you who don't know what tardiness is, that means be chronically late. Late all the time. Have you ever heard people saying, man, that person's late so much, they're going to be late to their own funeral? And I used to think that was a joke until I went to a couple of funerals and they started late. They started late. I was like, well, it kind of lines up because that's exactly how they were in life. They were just chronically late. It drives me insane. Leaving 10 minutes after you're supposed to be there. You know, I told my son this when he was smaller. I said, if you arrive somewhere and you're on time when you arrive, you're late. Early is on time, and on time is late. What do I mean by that? I mean, if your event is supposed to be starting at 10 o'clock and you're walking in a door at 10, there is no way that you're going to be prepared to do what you need to do. You should be there early. I was taught you to be there 20 to 30 minutes early. Give yourself time to clear your mind, to think, to pray, to do whatever it is that you need to do to get yourself straight so that you can present yourself in a way that is going to be representative of who you say that you are. You say that you're great. You say that you have enormous talent. You say that you have the ability, but now you're running in there late, getting in by the skin of your chinny chin chin. That's not how believers should present themselves. I think it's especially important, those of us who classify ourselves and certainly testify to the fact that we are believers, we need to be on time with stuff. Tardiness is not just arriving somewhere late. It's presenting your product late. You promised that you're going to have a job done at a certain time on a certain date. Get it done. Get it done. Don't wait till the last minute to start working on your product or your service, or you're just showing up whenever you feel like showing up, and then try to utilize. You need to understand with your fellow brothers and sisters in Christ. No, I don't need to understand. Business is business. Business is business. And as brothers and sisters in Christ, we need to be that much more responsible with how we treat one another when it comes to handling business. Procrastination leads to poor reputation. Poor reputation. Well, you know, let me tell you something. If people are joking about your lateness, if that has become the butt of jokes, that is not something to be proud of. If you are the butt of everyone's joke, oh, well, you know what, man, here they come. You know they're going to be late. And everyone is always saying, maybe we need to plan this out and tell them to arrive 30 minutes early, because we know we tell them the exact time that this event is starting. We know they're going to arrive 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour late. If that's your reputation, that is not a good reputation to have. That is a terrible reputation to have, and is a misrepresentation of the Christ that you say is in you. It is dishonorable and it's disrespectful to the person who has decided to put on the event and invites you, whether it's to speak, whether it's to attend. You don't want to develop a poor reputation because of your procrastination. Procrastination leads to loss of opportunities. Why is everybody always overlooking me? Well, maybe because they have looked at all the things I just talked about. You're always unprepared. You're always sloppy. You're always underperforming. You have developed some bad habits. The product that you submit is always unsatisfactory. You're always over-promising and under-delivering. Brother, I can do this, I can do that. Well, I can do this, I can do that. And you get there and it never happens. Oh, and you're always late. And you've developed a poor reputation as a result of all of those things. And so now you begin to lose out on opportunities because of the decisions that you've made. It's nobody else's fault but your own. And most importantly, procrastination leads to stress. You're stressed out because now you got to hurry and get it done. I got to hurry and prepare this. Let me tell you something. You should always be prepared. When it comes to speaking, I learned this years ago because I used to be rushing the last, trying to get stuff together, trying to get things together. I changed my strategy in regards to how I prepare. If I know that I'm going to be speaking somewhere or presenting somewhere, I prepare weeks in advance for that event. And yes, I may be doing some honing here and there and some fine-tuning as I get closer to the event. But I'm not trying to put my entire presentation together the night before it's time for me to get up, or the morning that it's time for me to get up. I'm not doing that because it's important to me that I represent God and that the product or the service that I'm providing surpasses what I'm promising. I'm not interested in just providing what I've promised. I'm more interested in surpassing that. I want to make sure that I have the right mindset, that I have the right attitude, and that I go in as relaxed as is possible when it's time for me to produce or present. I don't want to be all stressed out about, man, I got to hurry and get this done. My printer's down. That's going crazy. Oh, I don't have enough ink. Just think about all of the things that can happen because you procrastinated and waited till the last minute, and now you're stressed out beyond belief, and it shows in your presentation. It shows. People can tell when you're not prepared. You can try and scam people and tell as many jokes as you want to tell to try to work your way around it, and then we figure out if I can get another story in here. You can do all that, all those things, but people can tell this person is not prepared. They're not prepared. They haven't practiced. And we each have our own way of preparing and our own way of practicing. For some individuals, getting back to like speaking, some individuals memorize their speeches verbatim. They spend weeks or months memorizing their speeches. That's what they do. Other individuals read off of a teleprompter or notes. And so they want to make sure that those things are done, and they'll practice everything else. Other individuals have other ways of practicing. I kind of do a combination of different things that helps me to prepare. Either way, whatever your way of preparation is, get it done, and don't wait till the last moment to get it done. Don't wait until it's showtime to decide to start looking over your notes. Don't wait until you get to the gym, until you get your mind right about it's time for me to work out. Don't wait until I get to school before I decide, well, you know what, maybe I need to get serious about this education thing. Don't wait until you're there and it's time for you to perform before you decide to start getting serious. Procrastination will prevent you from excelling at whatever it is that you're looking to excel in. So how do we appropriately address the dysfunction of procrastination? How do we address this as believers? Because the world has its systems, and many of those systems are, in fact, modeled off of Christian principles. But there are specific things that you and I can do to help us so that we can overcome the scourge of procrastination that leads to so many consequences in our lives. I'm going to give you 11 points here, possibly 12. Well, I'm going to give you 11 points here that I want you to remember, and I want you to apply to your life. I don't want you to just listen to this one time. I want you to apply this. Think about it. Consider it. Meditate on it. Even locate scriptures within the Bible that can help to bring some clarity to what it is that I am about to share. Okay, are we ready? All right, number one. If you want to deal with your procrastination, do everything as unto the Lord. Do everything as unto the Lord. What do I mean by that? Well, I actually took that from Colossians, the 3rd chapter in your Bible. And in there, in the Amplified version, it says to work willingly at whatever you do as though you are working for the Lord rather than for people. Now, I want you to focus in on a particular word there. The word I want you to focus in on is the word Lord. What does Lord mean? Lord means that you have placed Christ in the position of being head of your life, that you are submitted to his will, his purpose for your life. This is not all about you. It's about who you represent, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. So many times when we go into a particular position, we accept a job, we accept participating at a particular event, we're involved in an activity, we stop at how is this going to make me look? Our entire perspective is self-centered. Am I going to get out of this? Rather than how can I best represent God doing whatever it is that I am doing? When I was speaking for American Electric Power several years ago, I remember, this is prior to me getting falling ill at the time. Before I would go in there, I always asked God, how can I best represent you in this presentation? I had my notes, which I had prepared. I had my PowerPoint presentation, which I had prepared. I had my books, which I had obviously prepared. I had gone over things in my mind as far as what I wanted things or how I wanted things to go, which I had prepared for. But the most important thing for me was, how do I best represent Christ? This is not all about Joe. This is not about Joe becoming famous. This is not about Joe becoming well-known. Things happen, so be it. But ultimately, the number one most important thing that I need to remember is this is all about Christ. This is all about the Lord. the Lord, the one whom I am submitted to, the one who is head of my life. See, he's not just my Savior, he's my Lord. And so when I have that approach, because I want to represent Christ, then my game is going to step up, and I'm not going to wait at the last moment to get things together, because I'm representing Christ, and he's not a sloppy God. He doesn't treat us as an afterthought. He doesn't get to us whenever he feels like getting to us. He doesn't show or demonstrate his love whenever he feels like he has time to do so. And so in understanding that, everything that I do, I want to make sure that it represents Christ in the appropriate way. Second point, those are for, like I said, as believers, we've got to remember that. We can't forget that. Second point, stop comparing yourself to others. Each of us has our own gift, our own ability. And we can get so busy comparing ourselves to other people, we never get around to being who we are. Let me repeat that. We can be so busy comparing ourselves to other individuals, attempting to be like other individuals, speaking like other individuals, acting or behaving like other individuals. We can get so busy doing those things that we procrastinate on being who we are. Who did God make you to be? What gifts and talents do you have? And why are you not working on those things instead of trying to be another version of someone else? Part of the reason why we procrastinate, as I'm saying in this particular point, is we're so busy trying to be like the most popular person that we see on social media, the most popular person we see in the movies, the most popular person that we see on television, the most popular musician that we hear on our radios, the most popular version of whatever it is. We're so busy doing that and comparing ourselves to those things that we never get around to being what makes us unique. Why did God make you the way that he made you? It's because he has something specific that he designed you to do. And the longer you invest time in trying to be like someone else, in comparing yourself to someone else, the longer you do that, the longer you're going to go without fulfilling the fullness of who God made you to be. That is a form of procrastination, my friends, believe it or not. And so, yeah, you may reach certain levels of success. There may be certain things you see happen in your life because you've basically imitated someone else, or you patterned everything you do after someone else. But the truth is, you're never going to be happy. You're never going to be fulfilled. You're never going to be overflowing with joy because you're so busy as an imposter. You're so busy trying to be like them that you'll never be you. Number 3, you need to assess what you can do right now. What can I do right now? Instead of looking and saying, well, when I get this thing, when I acquire this money, when I move into this location, when I have this type of car, when I buy this type of house, when I get into this type of relationship, when I lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, when I put on muscle, when I cut my hair this way, when I get this degree. Stop the presses. Assess what you can do right now. This is a Moses at the Red Sea moment. The enemy is on your tail. You got to get to the other side of the river, because if you stay where you are, you will die. right where you are. So how do I get around to getting over to the other side of the river? And just as Moses cried out to God and said, Lord, how do you get me all the way out here? And now I don't know what I'm going to do. Did you bring us out here to die? And God said to Moses, what are you crying to me for? Look it up. It's in there. What are you crying to me for? What do you have in your hands? It's time to assess what you have in your hands. Not tomorrow, not the day after that. What do you have access to today? Stop procrastinating. Stop waiting until you get the right tools, the right knowledge, the right know-how. All those things can be gathered up as you move along. What do you have in your hands right now? Assess that and move forward. Stop procrastinating. Number 4, set realistic goals. Set realistic goals. Now, we walk by faith and not by sight. I want to say that again. We walk by faith and not by sight. In knowing this does not mean that we don't set realistic goals. You have to take steps in order to get to what it is that God has for you. You got to set some goals on that faith. Like I said, we walk by faith and not by sight. If I'm living in a shanty on the outside of town, and I'm believing that I'm going to live in a 5-bedroom mansion, if that's your goal, well, let's make the first goal getting in a house. Does that make sense to you? Let's make the first goal getting into a house. The 5-bedroom mansion in the sky will still be there. Right now, you need to get out of the shanty and into the house. So we got to set some realistic goals, because based on what you have in your hand now, going back to the example with Moses, he's standing there at the Red Sea. Again, cries out to God. God says, what do you have in your hand? Moses raises up the rod. The sea splits. Did Moses fly across? No, he walked, because that's what he had access to. He walked by faith. He didn't have access to a plane. He didn't have access to a yacht. It was realistic. He used real steps to get to where he needed to get to. This does not dismiss faith. This does not dismiss having big dreams and big goals. Those things, you need to keep them there. That is the ultimate goal. But there are some steps that you need to take to get there. You're not going to wake up one morning as a multi-millionaire. It's not going to happen. And if you don't implement the appropriate steps to get $50,000, you're certainly not going to implement the steps to have $1 million. Not going to happen. Even people who win the lottery, because they have not made or set realistic goals, they end up losing it all. You can do the research for yourself. Time and time again, how many lottery winners end up in worse financial condition after winning the lottery than they did before they had it, because they didn't have realistic goals in place. Number 5, you need to create a calendar. This helped me out immensely, ladies and gentlemen. Helped me out immensely, because my days were kind of like filled with, okay, I got this to do, I got that to do, I got this other thing to do, but there was really not structure in place that helped me to do the things that I needed to do. And so when I began to really work on structuring my calendar, filling it in. At 1 o'clock I have this going on, 2 o'clock I have that going on. I need to have a meeting at this particular time. When I started doing that, things really began to work well for me. A lot of stress that I had going on in my life went away because I didn't feel like had to run around like a chicken with his head cut off, trying to go here, there, and everywhere. Able to have peace in my life because I created a calendar and I followed that calendar. It wasn't just punching in some dates over here, dates over there, appointments here, appointment over there. No, I was diligent about following that calendar. And so if it was time for me to have a meeting between 1 and 2, that meeting was between 1 and 2, not 1, 2, and then, I'm going to stretch it out to 5 or 6. No, I've got a meeting between 1 and 2. I have another meeting at 2:30. This meeting must end at 2 in order for me to make it to my next meeting on time. I'm currently back in school. I have classes that I'm doing. I have to make sure that my schedule is set. I have multiple classes throughout the week that I have to make sure that I attend, and that there's work that I have to do with each of those classes. On top of that, there are other assignments that I have going on. So I don't have time to fool around and get my hands into everything, right? I don't have time for that. I'm assisting a friend right now with writing a book. There's other obligations and responsibilities that I have. I have to make sure that my calendar is on point. I am far more productive. And what's funny is I'm not trying to get to as many events during the week. I'm able to accomplish far more by making sure that I stick to my calendar. Number 6, I share my calendar. Yeah, I share my calendar. There are specific individuals with whom I share my calendar to help keep me accountable. Did you get this done today? Did you get that done today? That keeps me from procrastinating. It really does. I had to have something done this weekend. And I have friends of mine who know you got to get this done. Did you get such and such done? Yes, I got it done. There were several assignments I had to get done. There were several emails I had to get out. Did you get them done? Yes, I did. Having accountability is another important component to breaking the scourge of procrastination. If you don't have someone to keep you accountable, I would strongly suggest that you seek out someone or someone's to keep you accountable. It will change your life. Accountability will change your life. Number 7, commit to a routine so that you can develop healthy habits. Commit to a routine. Now, this is really important, and I think for me, again, this helped me out a lot because I'm a free spirit. I really am. I enjoy trying out different things and going different places, and I enjoy being spontaneous. When I was younger, before becoming a parent, it was nothing for me to just jump on the road and drive somewhere. Yeah, I just feel like going somewhere this weekend. I'm going to just jump on the road and just go. And even in life, throughout my life now, there are times when I'm like, man, I would just like to just jump and just go somewhere or do this or do that. But the truth is, you can't live that way and expect to be successful. It's not going to happen. You got to develop some habits. You got to develop a routine to help you so that you can progress. If you're just kind of going through each day and you don't really have a plan in place, you're just gonna spin your wheels. You're not gonna get anywhere, and you're gonna be frustrated because you're gonna find that next year and the year after that and the year after that you're gonna be in the same place because you've never developed a routine. You got to develop a routine like getting up and getting out of bed on time. Like, that's important. Have a set time when you get up in the morning. Don't just be laying around and I'll get up whenever I feel like getting up. No, get up out of bed. So I know every morning I get up at a particular time. I make sure that I take care of my physical needs. One of my physical needs is I work out. I try to take care of my body. It's important to do that because if I don't take care of my body, then I'm going to have other issues, right? I want to be able to perform appropriately. So I get up in enough time to exercise, read my Bible, pray, meditate. I get up in enough time to do all of those things before I even get started with anything else. All of those things. You got to get disciplined, and you got to get focused, and you need to commit to a routine and not just kind of just wander through life and think that things are going to just fall in your lap. When you procrastinate, you're going to be destined for failure. Next step is number 8. Take one step after the next. Go step by step. Take one step at a time. Don't try to leap. Walk. And then after you've learned to walk appropriately, then you can start jogging. But don't be in such a hurry to get out there and go sprinting when you haven't even learned how to walk properly. It's like putting a pair of sneakers on someone and say, go out there and run this track. And sure, they can do it, but they're not going to be as efficient. They're not going to be as effective. They're just not going to have those things there. You got to take it one step at a time, one day at a time. As you take one step, things will fall into place, but you cannot procrastinate and say, I don't know if I should do this or not. You're going to have to get out there and do it. Number 9, you need to get disciplined. Get disciplined and learn to say no to the distractions. You're supposed to be doing your schoolwork, or you're supposed to be doing your work, or you're supposed to be exercising, you're supposed to be whatever it is you're supposed to be doing, and you're so busy on social media, watching YouTube videos, talking to your buddies on the phone, all that kind of stuff. I had to start. There was a lot of things I had to make some decisions about. I have friends of mine who I can get on the phone with, and I'm like, man, my whole day is gone. I've been on the phone with them all day long. We're talking for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, and nobody's getting anything accomplished. I've got meetings I need to get to. I've got assignments that need to be handled. You got to start saying no to the distractions. This goes back to setting up your calendar appropriately. Hey, between these hours, I'm not available. I'm just not, because it's important that I accomplish the task at hand. Number 10, you got to set some priorities. What's the most important thing that you need to get done each and every day? On your calendar, that should be number 1 on your list. What is the most important thing to get done during the day? It shouldn't be I'm going to get all this other stuff done, and then the thing that is the most important, then I'm going to get around to getting it done. No, that's procrastination. Get what needs to be done, the most important thing, out of the way first. And number 11, stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop waiting for the perfect time. You know what? I would do it, but it's not the right time. Get started doing something, ladies and gentlemen. Stop waiting for stuff to fall into your lap, or one day you're gonna wake up and it's just gonna magically happen, or you're just waiting for Jesus to just show up. And no, you need to get up and take the steps. It happened, ladies and gentlemen. There is no perfect time. There's only now. And although all the pieces may not fall into place, if you stick to it and you're disciplined and you're diligent, they eventually will. I'm author, leadership, and team development speaker Joe Woodley. Thank you for joining me on another Key Moments for Faith. Looking forward to connecting again soon. God bless you.